in the beginning, it's not about you, it's not about your program, it's not about any of the things that you can coach on. It's about what is the problem, and are you willing to admit that you have a problem? Are you willing to do something about the problem? And if you are, then we could talk about our solution. What's up? I'm Ben Perry. I've generated 2.6 million in high ticket sales, and this channel is all about sales, marketing, and the psychology to make it all happen. And today's video is about how to not kill your sales calls. Let's go. If you're in high ticket sales, then you know how frustrating it is sometimes to be able to get someone to reach into their back pocket, pull out their wallet, and pay you anywhere between 10K, 25K, 50K, 100K, or even 250K in some coaching programs. When you are in this situation, you've got to know what to do because the stakes are high. The stakes are high because they are investing a serious amount of money when it comes to your solution, or if you're a sales rep, then the business that you're closing for solution. So how do you know that you're doing the right things in order to get people to close? Well, it really comes down to really a few things, a few covered bases to make sure that you are checking off all the boxes. Again, it's not about closing people. It's more about walking people through the process of uncovering their pain and figuring out what exactly is going on and whether you can properly diagnose what the exact issue is. And then based on the information that you collect, is this somebody that we can serve, or is this somebody that's not a good fit and we need to actually refer them out to someone else? So I always want to make sure that we are being ethical at the very, very onset. Everything that we're doing to ask questions of the prospect is to serve them. Now, when you are going through the process, and I've got other videos that talk about the process and talk about and break down what we need to be doing inside of the sales call, but you've got to know that the questions that you're answering are going to uncover the truth about where they're at. And a lot of times people are not willing to tell themselves the truth, and they want to either hide it or they want to ignore it, or it's too painful, cognitive dissonance sets in. All of these things are basically in their way of getting the thing that they want. And so it's your job as the sales rep to ask questions to figure out what's going on. And a lot of times people are not going to want to open up, and it's going to be painful. Well, no matter what, whether that person signs up with you or not, you are serving them massively, because it's not every day that somebody gets onto a call with admittedly a stranger, and this stranger, if you are trained properly, has the intestinal fortitude to be able to hold up a mirror to the other person and not take any of their bullshit and say, look, these are the things that you told me is going on, and if you want to fix them, then you need to at least be able to face them. Nope, you've got to be able to face them. And unless somebody is willing to face them and accept that, yes, there is a problem, and yes, I'm willing to do something about it, then it doesn't really matter what your offer is, because nothing is going to work for them if they are not committed and if they are not ready to start and do something about it right now. So you could do everything right and get to the very end, and then, people will decide that they are going to choose to not move forward. And of course, we've got, objection handling and different tactics and strategies that we could use to be able to overcome that, or even better, to prevent that in the first place. But oftentimes, what is something that a lot of newbie kind of sales reps experience is they will go through the process, they will have been given a script, and they will follow the script, and then what will happen is they learn from somebody that they need to serve powerfully on the call, and they need to be empathetic on the call. And so they will be all of these things, and then they find out that in doing so, they go a little too empathetic. They go a little too into getting into the other person's problem to where it stops being a sales call. It stops being an enrollment call. It becomes free therapy. Now, we don't want to become anybody's free therapist. And the way that we avoid this critical but crucial mistake is we do not coach on the sales call. Now, if you might hear this and say, oh my gosh, I've totally been coaching on the sales call this entire time. No wonder I'm not closing anybody. Well, let me explain why we don't coach on the sales call. Because if somebody is talking to you on the phone, then they have either heard about you through some form of marketing material, whether most in this day and age, people are finding people through the internet. So it could have been through a webinar, it could have been through a series of Instagram stories or a Facebook Live or a video on YouTube that they've been consuming your stuff and they have enough recognition, the know, like, and trust factor, to want to even book a call with you and your team in the first place. So they know about who you are. They know what you're up to. They know the results that you can get. So if they're on the call in order to get a result. Even if they aren't consciously aware of that themselves, they want a change to what is currently going on, okay? And people will try to lie to themselves when they get onto a call with you. But in doing so, the reason I bring that up is because coaching will kill your sales. Your material, your marketing material, like this very video, is meant to be instructional. It's meant to be like a coaching moment. These are mini trainings that I'm producing here on YouTube. And so when somebody sees this, this is where people get the sense that you know what you're doing, you know how to overcome objections, you have authority, you can see around corners because you're demonstrating your prowess. This is the time to be able to coach. But on the enrollment conversation, when you're on the call, it is not about coaching. And if you are coaching, that is the quickest kiss of death for your sales. Okay? You can probably just look in your spreadsheet right now and look at all the last 10, 20 people that you've talked to. And if you've been coaching and your calls are going way longer than you expected, then this is the symptom. So a quick way to avoid this is to don't coach on the sales call. But that's easier said than done if you've been trained in the whole I want to serve powerfully, I want to over deliver. Sure, over deliver once they've paid you. But here's the mindset, the frame of reference that I want you to get. When somebody shows up on the call, you are there to figure out what they need. The call is all about them. The call is not about you, your product. It's not about any of that, okay? It is about them and what their problem is, and can we help this person? So we're going to be asking diagnosing questions, because I like to think of it as we are a hospital. This is the emergency room. Somebody books a call, aka comes onto the call, and their neck is bleeding out. Are we just gonna be like, we've got some really good medicines here. We could totally help that. It's like, no. It's about them. Like, what? How can we help you? And they're like, I need some help. It's like, okay, so they're pointing, right? This is somebody who obviously knows they have pain, and they're like, yes. But most people aren't going to come in and basically have something that's so obvious. They're going to be like, oh, I got a bum knee, but no, it's fine. No, I'm good. Even though like they're limping around everywhere, and you got to be able to point to it and be like, well, what's wrong? What's going on there? And you got to be able to poke it and prod it. And as you do this, aka as you're asking questions and diagnosing, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be painful. So you're gonna poke here and you say, does that hurt? And they go, no. And you poke here and they go, does that hurt? And they say no. And then you poke here and they're like, oh my gosh. It's like, that's because diagnosis is painful. So in the beginning, it's not about you. It's not about your program. It's not about any of the things that you can coach on. It's about what is the problem, and are you willing to admit that you have a problem? Are you willing to do something about the problem? And if you are, then we could talk about our solution. We could talk about what it is that we have. But until we figure out what it is that they actually need, then anything that we would recommend to them would be the equivalent of malpractice. We do not want to coach on the sales call. It's the equivalent of somebody being in a burning building and you're supposed to be the fireman who is knocking this thing down and helping them to be able to get out. But when you coach on the sales call, it's like you enter into the burning building with them, you give them some coaching advice, and the advice that they get on a free coaching call, or even if they pay for the coaching call, they're not paying for the actual service, so they're not actually committing to themselves, is going to be lackluster at best. Very few people value the things that they get for free and or cheap. So you're giving great advice, but they're most likely not going to change. They're not going to take it. And so again, this is the equivalent of you entering into their burning house and you giving them a glass of water, ice cold water, and then you walking away. They think like they're all happy because they got a glass of ice cold water, but they're still in a burning building. Nothing has changed. So we do not want to coach on the sales call. So I wanted to make this a really quick video because this is something I'm really passionate about. And I just had a client who I was talking to, and it was our first call today, and it was revealed that, hey, I'm coaching on the sales call. My calls are going to 45 to 90 minutes long, and I don't know what's happening. And then people are giving me yeses verbally, but they're not getting back to me. They're ghosting me. And we can talk about those things in another video. But this video is specifically about why we don't coach on the sales call. I'm Ben Perry. If you want to book a call with me because you'd like to be able to work with me either in a sales consulting capacity where you want me to help you increase your sales and or your team's sales, or you have a client-based business where you are a coach or consultant and you have an offer that you know could be making more, I also help with offer consulting as well. So click the link down below and book a call with me. This is a call to see if you would be a good fit for my consulting. So just want to be very transparent about it up front. I'm teaching you everything that I know in these calls. So most of the time, the people that I get on these calls are people who are either ready to go or they have a few questions, a few clarifying questions. Will this work for me? And I'm happy to have that conversation with you and figure out if it's something that we can or can't help with. But that's it, and I'll see you on the next one.